Unleashed Overtime starts right now.
Sure does. And I couldn't be happier about it. Welcome. Thanks for being with us. Got this, Kamala Harris is trotting out this tough new policy on immigration because she's a border hawk. And we all know that, right? There's anybody who's tough on the border, it's Kamala Harris. Oof. So she made her highly anticipated visit to the border. That was on Friday. It was her supposed second trip to the border as vice president. First in 3 years, though. And so she said she's going to crack down on those attempting to sneak into the U.S. by shutting down some asylum loopholes. She also promised more technology and manpower to sniff out fentanyl coming across in vehicles through the border crossings. She said, our system must be orderly and secure, and that is my goal. Then she viciously criticized Trump's management of the border. He separated families. He ripped toddlers out of their mother's arms, put children in cages, and tried to end protections for dreamers. Such garbage. He separated families. You know how many of these unaccompanied kids are actually accompanied by somebody in a drug cartel or a sex trafficker? And we don't know who is who. We don't have any idea. We don't know these people. We don't know why they're here. We don't know where they came from. We don't know who's family members and who isn't. So what do? They put the kids in separate facilities away from the adults until they can figure it out for their safety. They don't know if these are, and we just showed you a drugged child being brought across the border by some sex trafficker. The kid was obviously drugged, and this was obviously not his father. And so as you're working that out, you don't want them there abusing the kid, so they put them in separate facilities. They don't rip toddlers out of their mother's arms. Such garbage. And they don't put children in cages. Obama did. God, it drives me out of my mind. And do you know how many kids they've lost track of in this administration? Harris-Biden, Biden-Harris. 325,000 children have been lost. We don't even know where they are. We don't know what happened to them at all. We have no clue where they are, who they're with, what they're doing. We don't know. Over 300,000 of them. So don't give me this Trump stuff that he ripped toddlers out of their mother's arms. The lies are just agonizing here.
Yeah.
They're evil. Just evil. Harris said Trump didn't increase the number of Border Patrol agents or immigration judges, didn't fix the asylum system, and didn't work with other governments. He sure tried. He tried. Trump proposed adding 5,000 border agents when he was president and more deportation officers, but Congress wouldn't fund it, so he couldn't do it by himself. He also proposed new asylum restrictions, but immigrants' rights activists sued to block those changes in the courts. And Trump did sign agreements with other countries to head off bogus asylum claims. But what happened? Biden ended them. On day one of his presidency, Biden stopped all of those new rules. We can't take another 4 years of this stuff. We just can't.
No.
Please, by all that is holy, please, 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 don't listen to the lies from Kamala Harris. Tell your friends. Share with them actual information. Tell them to look it up. Look it up. Don't trust me? Look it up on your own. You'll see for yourself. Then we got stupid people like Mark Cuban talking about Donald Trump. This guy is such a moron.
No. Hang on. We should rank the worst video clips ever. And as you're watching this video, try to place where would this video rank?
Keep in mind, this is libertarian Mark Cuban. Right?
Do they have some blackmail on him?
Something.
I think they have something on him.
Did they
Yeah,
pay
they got
him
something on him.
millions
It's
upon
unbelievable.
millions of dollars to do this, anti-Trump assault the last few months?
He's become one of the dumbest morons
This is unreal.
that anybody pays attention to. Listen to this.
You're shiny, orange, and empty inside. I'd say you're a traffic cone, but I would swerve to avoid a traffic curve.
That's going to leave a mark, Cuban.
Donald, do you know that to be a billionaire, you have to have the billion part in your bank account, not just the air.
Tom, you just fell into the Shark Tank.
Donald, I know you
Wow,
have
this is
no shot
embarrassing.
with Hispanics, because there's no way in hell you're getting the Cuban vote. Donald, the only way you're worth 10 billion is if I paid you $9.5 billion to wash my balls.
Wow. Wow. Okay, that's one of the worst of all time. Yes, that's one of the worst right
And
there.
he blew like the easiest lines to say.
Yes.
You're not getting this Cuban's vote. And what was the other? What was the other one he screwed up? I mean, he
The
just
first one, literally the first one.
I mean, he just.
That was agonizing.
And how much makeup? Look at that pancake face. Put that up there. He looks fake. He looks like a
Yes.
cadaver or something going on there.
Or when you're that close to the camera.
And Colbert is
Oh, he is.
Oh,
so
hideous.
bad.
This is the guy that danced with the needles, remember?
Yeah.
Oh, I remember Mr. Propaganda for sure.
How does anybody watch that show? Seriously.
don't.
How does he have one viewer? How?
His mom.
How is it possible?
His mom.
His mom.
Our mom's.
I don't know how his mom
loves
can
it.
even watch it. I don't know. Gosh, so bad.
That's a fair point because remember
So
Keith
bad.
Olbermann's mom was a Blaze subscriber.
All right.
So.
Oof, man. Okay.
Or no,
well,
no. What was it? Who was Scarborough? Scarborough's mom.
Was it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Was a Blaze TV subscriber. Yeah.
Here's something that we are going to enjoy, though, I think. RFK Jr. on this new study out about the Amish and autism. Check this out.
There was a researcher, a writer named Dan Olmsted, and he was very curious about unvaccinated populations, and the Amish are one of those populations. So he went and he did a study of the Amish in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, Lancaster County, Pennsylvania, and there should have been, I think, about, if it was following the national trends, there should have been about 2,000 autism cases, and they were able to find 3, and all of them were children who had been adopted by the Amish after receiving their vaccines. Oh, of the Amish in general, they could not find any.
Wow.
And this is true in other places around the world. There's there's a link between that. And I do not believe that autism is just caused by vaccines. I think there's very strong evidence that it is one of the major causative factors. But all of these diseases are linked. They all operate along the same biological pathways. And they're caused by stress to our mitochondria. And we're stressing the mitochondria through many, many vectors. Through the air we breathe, mainly through the foods we eat, but also some of the medications that our kids taking are contributed to it.
Wow. Wow.
That's devastating.
Yeah, that's really something.
So again, he did the study, or he was quoting a study, right? And says if it lines up with the general population, we should have 2,000 Amish children with autism. We have 3, and they were vaccinated before they were adopted into the Amish community.
Wow. That is something. We had really good friends in Houston who had 4 kids. 2 of them, both boys. Their 2 boys were both autistic. And so the mother, did all kinds of research on this. She really thought it was vaccines. And so she thought it was the mercury in vaccines. And she did extensive research. And I think she wound up thinking that, okay, maybe that's not where it came from. So that sort of sent me into thinking maybe it's not vaccines, because I did believe that's what it was for a while. And now I'm headed back in that direction. I don't know. That's pretty compelling evidence. If you're talking about a population like Amish who don't do the vaccines that the general population does, and then they don't have any homegrown autism, that's pretty compelling, isn't it?
It at least leads you to the environmental encroachment of that. In other words, something was introduced to cause that.
Right.
And I can say from my own life experience and a family friend, they had a little girl who was quite young and just a sweetheart, and then I guess fell behind on vaccines or the vaccinations that were due, and the pediatrician gave her 13 shots at one doctor's visit, and then
that's a lot.
Turned her into a monster.
Oh, really?
An absolute uncontrollable monster. And it was a long, hard battle for this family. But eventually, the mom found a doctor who was kind of holistic, natural in their approach, and he put this little girl on this all-natural diet, almost like this toxic cleanse, I guess. And if she stays on that, she's back to her sweet, loving self. And then if she gets something, I don't understand it, but if she gets something, like a preservative, something unnatural, then that switch gets flipped, and then it's Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde stuff,
Weird.
So I don't know what that's all about, but there you go. I know when it started, and it was apparently right after that doctor's visit and those 13 injections.
Wow. All right. Did you see that CNN's Scott Jennings ripped Tim Walz? He called him a buffoon.
CNN, what up?
CNN. Scott Jennings on CNN called him a buffoon who is being kept away from media interviews to prevent him from harming his party's ticket. Yeah, I think that's accurate, but you're not going to be able to hide him tonight.
Yeah.
So that will be interesting. But Jennings told CNN State of the Union that the Democrat governor from Minnesota is not a relatable figure, that they've tried to portray him as. During a discussion about the state of the race, the other CNN panel members were criticizing J.D. Vance, and Jennings decided to go after Walz, which is great because you don't see that on CNN very often. But Jake Tapper asked Jennings to respond, and he unleashed on Walz. He said, well, first of all, I don't find him to be consequential. Second of all, Walz is a buffoon. I'm sorry. This guy, he's the only school teacher in America who brags that none of his students can get into an Ivy League school. Awesome. And that's really kind of true. He's had one consequential press interaction with our Dana Bash, who asked him about the fabrications in his own resume, and his answer was essentially, me no understand words good.
So Scott Jennings, isn't he the conservative on the panel?
But
still, they let him talk. Yeah. They let him go. They pulled that ripcord. He just goes.
Right. He said, me no understand words good is what he had to say. I mean, he's a buffoon. Okay. He's on a free ride for running under Harris. He gets very little press. They don't let him talk to the press for a reason. I want one thing out of this debate. I want J.D. Vance to go out there and get under his skin. He has a legendary hot, short temper. A lot of governors do, but apparently he really does. I want J.D. Vance to go out there and have him explain why he's denigrating J.D. Vance's story, small town America, ends up making something better out of his life, which is something we should want for every kid. Such great points. And I think that should shine tonight. That should shine through, because this guy is just bizarre and ridiculous. And a Marxist.
Let's
not forget.
I just hate that the debate's going to be happening during a baseball playoff game that involves a swing state. And that bothers me.
Georgia? Is Georgia the swing state you're referencing here?
Yeah, I would be making that point regardless if it was
whether it was the
wild
Braves
card
or
Atlanta Braves. Or
Sure,
not.
sure.
It's just a fact.
Absolutely. All right.
Well, anyway, I really wish they would be watching that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But, man, why did they schedule this for...
I don't know. It's dumb.
Because when they scheduled this, they had no idea what the teams would be playing in that time slot.
Yeah, but you don't have to put them in.
That's what I'm saying.
Tonight. Could have been last night.
Monday Night Football.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you want to avoid that. That's for sure.
So whoever agreed to this is a dumbass, I guess is what we're getting to. Is kind of the point.
Also, we've had this on the schedule all week. Of course, I guess it's only the second day, but the Fox Sports prank. I don't know much about.
Okay,
this.
so
What happened?
Fox Sports, Fox NFL Sunday coverage. They do a pregame show. You know, they got Terry Howie, whoever the hell's on there, Terry Bradshaw. Anyway. Michael Strahan, and of course, Rob Gronkowski is now on there. And so they put a little prank on Mr. Gronk.
All
right, guys, one more segment to come. Don't forget what we're doing.
Here's the deal. We decided to play a little joke on our buddy Gronk. He thought we were going live with an extra segment. Everybody at Fox knows this is not real, except for Gronk. And the premise was I was going to break news that the Cowboys were activating this great Pro Bowl tight end who doesn't exist. And Gronk has to go on what he thinks is live TV to talk about this tight end.
All right, fellas, 10 seconds back. Straight, who do you want to talk about here?
Dallas game, let's talk about Russo.
Back in 5, 4, 3,
That's what I was talking about.
2, 1. All right, we're on the air.
All right, later today, it's America's Game of the Week, and it's one you don't want to miss. The Dallas Cowboys go for their 6th win in a row, and right now they take on a Buffalo Bills team that I guess, Jay, there's some breaking news.
I just got off the phone with Mike McCarthy, and you guys know how big of a weapon Rich Russo is for that team, right? As a tight end.
They just activated him, right?
They just activated him. They didn't know if he's going to be able to play today. They think he's good to go, not only today, but they are going to put him heavily into that game plan. Expect a lot of Rich Russo.
That's big because Russo is a complete game changer. He takes so much pressure off Dak, takes so much pressure off the run game. Great blocker, great receiver, red zone threat.
Listen, I thought it was a stretch. They were talking about Tony Gonzalez. They're talking about Gronk. I don't think he's Gronk.
Gronk, where do you list Russo as, like, among the tight ends, playing today at least?
He's been out for a little bit, so he might be a little rusty coming back, but I think they're going to give him the opportunities, that's for sure. But also they got Ferguson as well. They're going to be a 1-2 combo.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Ferguson has been the guy because Russo's been hurt. You got to admit, with Russo coming back, it just changes their offense.
Yeah, but Ferguson has been showing that he's the guy right now. They're going to still feed Ferguson.
He's the only guy in the league that has 2 fingers missing on his right hand. That's why he's been out, and he's back now.
So is that going to affect him when he's catching a pass?
Yes. You're still the guy.
I don't know. I still have all 5 of my fingers.
But you know what?
No, you're the tight end.
You have 10.
But all 10 of my fingers. All 5 on each hand, all right? All 5 on each hand.
So dumb.
Hey.
All right, this is a joke. Rich Russo does not play for the Dallas Cowboys.
I was wondering.
Up for you.
Is that live? I was wondering, like, in my mind, like, I was going to say, right when it was done, I was going to say, guys, I never heard of Rich Russo. Never heard of him in my life. You guys had my head spinning, that's for sure. But I was so excited to finally see this video this year when we watched it at the Fox Seminar this summer, and the video is actually better than expected. And I've learned 2 things from it: that I am a funny guy, and 2 is that I am always ready. Okay, I am always ready. I audibled that right to Ferguson. Hey, he's a great tight end. I'm sitting there, Rich Russo.
Rich Russo, here's how ready he is. Prior to running just the clip we just ran, he said, "What's this guy's name? Tony Russo."
Hey, here's the other thing you learned: that you have 10 fingers.
Yeah.
Jay, you're a good storyteller.
Of course, that was one of the highlights from Gronk's rookie year on the show. We'll get him maybe later on. Here's a soft.
That's really fun.
Very funny.
That's kind of funny. That's better than his stupid USA
busted
whatever ads. What is the?
How can I get
Oh my gosh.
USAA membership?
USAA.
Well, you didn't serve,
so bad.
Oh, busted.
And now
He's bad on that.
He's doing those where he shows up at Sam, what's his face's house?
His house, yeah.
Oh my gosh, just embarrassing bad. Just embarrassing.
Yeah, but I mean, he did actually play that off pretty well. Oh, he's been out, so he's going to be rusty, you know. I mean, that's good take.
That's
and
pretty.
he did turn it around to somebody he knew about.
Yes.
Ferguson.
Yeah,
and that's what he
Ferguson.
mostly talked about. So, but he was, he didn't admit, I've never heard of this guy, so I don't know anything about him. I guess you wouldn't admit that though, on a
I
live
love
broadcast.
that line. He's missing 2 fingers.
Yeah, now that, come on.
How do you keep your straight face after that?
So good. All right. We'll see you tomorrow, midway through the week. Jeffy will join us to chew the fat.